Welcome to Nothing Finer. I'm your host, Rick Beach, along with Austin Island. Georgia coming off a big 21-14 win, clinched the East. One up Jordan Harris, you just mentioned before he come on the air, snapped the curse of the SEC road game, the West road games for Georgia with Kirby. Austin, we said it was going to be one loss in the trenches. The game ends on a sack with Travon Walker.
Yes.
What did you think of the overall performance of the game?
Thought offense came out and did well. First half, really set the pace. Hit some explosive plays, some big runs by DeAndre Swift. Don Blaylock over the top. That was a huge touchdown to open it up. And then we come into about halftime, and Gus takes that timeout right before half, and it gives Jake Fromm another opportunity to do a 2-minute offense, which was, I guess kind of a blunder by Gus. I mean, he should have known that, Jake's pretty dangerous in that kind of Patriot kind of 2-minute style, slinging around offense a little bit, and we, punched another one in going in, and come out third quarter pretty good, but it seemed like we got a little gas. Defense starting to get a little gas late third, early fourth. We kind of stalled out on offense, and it exposed the defense a little bit, put them out there for a little bit too many plays, but they was able to stiffen up at the end, and I guess that's all that matters. ACC East champs again. So
yeah, and you kind of, in a way, you can't blame Gus for that timeout because you got to think he knows how good his defense is.
Right.
So it's kind of, danged if you do, danged if you don't.
Yeah.
Because if you make the stops right there, then everybody's going to say, why didn't you take the timeout? And you'd have had time, to try to get something going on offense. So he was kind of caught, and like Kirby mentioned in the postgame, it saved Kirby from having to make that choice because you're Kirby and you use that timeout. You don't get the first down, then you punt it back to Auburn.
Right.
You look silly. So it's just one of them. This is why they get paid millions of dollars to make these type of decisions. But it worked out good for Georgia. Drove down there, got the little touchdown with Arian on the pass. I mean, Fromm only had 110 yards. Yeah. He had 3 touchdowns. Really, other than the South Carolina game, he ain't had any picks. And other than the South Carolina game, that 2-minute offense right before the half has been on point.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Every game when we get the ball in a 2-minute type situation, we can drive down there.
Punch it in.
It seemed to start the fourth quarter, the game was pretty much at hand.
Yeah.
But I think we had 12 yards total the whole fourth quarter. And I understand that Auburn defense is good, and we know what kind, Derek Brown and Davison and these guys on their defense. Georgia got to do a better job of getting something.
Yeah, they got to convert.
That. But the good news, we won't play that kind of defensive line again. We won't see the talent that we saw against Auburn for the rest of the season. And so as a Georgia fan, you would like to improve on that. That has to change. But yet again, this offense, only 21 points, but with our defense, that's more than enough.
Good enough to
win the game. And that's the kind of football we're going to play.
Yeah.
Georgia's going to get a lead. And it's the conservative. But it is what it is. We know we have a good defense. And Kirby knew up 21, 15 minutes to go, it was going to be hard for Auburn to get 21 points. Now, they got 14. It seemed like pretty quick back-to-back drives, like you said. But then when it mattered the most, the 2 drives there towards the end, the 4th and 2, they slipped the running back out there. Bo missed him. Then the sack. But that Travon Walker lined up over center.
Yeah, stunning around the outside.
Go around the tackle, and then the speed from a guy that's nearly 300 pounds. That's just a freshman.
Yeah,
and another sack was Tyreek Stevenson.
Yeah.
So we saw a lot of young talent that showed out in this game.
Yes, and that's going to be the game moving forward. I mean, these kids can play, man. So Kirby's going to put them out there, and we're going to play as many bodies as we can. And, we're going to have to, if this offense is going to continue to play anything like it is at the moment, we're going to have to keep bringing in these bodies and keeping everybody fresh because, it's not – the things that this offense needs to do to get over the hump are so marginal. It really just drives me insane because, Eli Wolf catches a touchdown pass, then drops a 3rd and 5, hits him right in the hands, and bounces right off his hands, and Kearis Jackson had a drop, but he was getting draped all over pass interference on that play. So, if the ball hits you in the hands, you got to reel it in because Jake's putting it where it needs to be for the most part. He does have overthrow here and there, but he's usually on the money. And if he gives it to you, man, you got to make better on your opportunity because we got to extend drives to keep this defense fresh. When this defense is fresh, it can attack, it can be more aggressive. We had to lay off a little bit because we were getting gas. But
when we throw it, it's there.
Yeah,
we run the ball so much. When Georgia says, "Okay, we're going to throw it," we have a guy usually open.
Yeah,
and that's because our run game is so potent.
Yeah,
and the way and play action pass yet again is eating people up. And Fromm's pretty deadly on play action.
Yeah, people are going to bite on that play, especially the way DeAndre played yesterday, the tough yards he got. And, you just give him an inch and he can take it, 40 yards down the field. So
yeah, if you're not in your lanes on defense, if
Yeah.
you're not being, disciplined and all that, he'll make you pay. He'll burn you.
Yeah.
And we've seen that his whole entire career at Georgia. Even his freshman year, he showed out. But Auburn's defense showed they were as good as advertised. They came in there and shut the. DeAndre had 100. Them were hard-earned yards that he got. He didn't get nothing.
That's
really
6.2 a carry too.
Yeah,
I mean,
and this defense, our offensive line played great. This is. You couldn't ask for any more. We weren't going to get 40 points or anything like that. Nobody expected that. I mean, I kind of thought the game went the way I thought there'd be more field goals, but it seemed Georgia really found a way to punch it once they got inside the 20, inside the 10.
Yeah.
Something we've struggled with even last season. So to see Georgia's able to do that really, it could bode well to the future.
Yeah, and getting in the red zone and punching in the way we did, that's super important. Just having the 100% red zone production and being able to get in there and kind of expose Auburn's edges a little bit by how they, have they kind of fortified the inside of their defense a little bit, and the way we're able to get down in the 5 and exploit it with the play action and the float out to Harry and those things. That's really nice. That's good things going forward, but in between the 20s, we got to do a better job. We got to convert, and if we keep converting, if we convert a couple of those third downs, this game's 21-7, not 21-14, and that's just simple facts.
The only thing I can hang my hat on this. It was a lot more to do with the defense we was going against. 'Cause we saw against Florida when we were outrageous on third down. We were converting everything. So a lot of it had to do with the situations we were put in because of first and second down. And then, Auburn's got a great defense. Not just at the front. They got great linebackers. Their defensive backs really underrated.
Yeah, their defensive backs came to play. I was very surprised with the way they was able to just put hands on man all game and kind of.
They played that against LSU. When they played LSU, their defensive backs really showed. Their defensive line gets all the credit, and this 100% deserved. But their defensive backs are just as they're really good. And going forward for Georgia, coming to Texas A&M this weekend, we don't really know much about Texas A&M. We know they've paid a lot of money for their coach.
Yeah.
And it seems like Kellen Mond's been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's all I really know from Texas A&M. I've watched their games. It always seems to be a shootout. Mm-hmm. I look at their offense statistically is really good, but the level of defense they're going to see, they haven't played LSU yet, but when they played Alabama, they got, I think it was 20-something points.
Yeah.
So they can get the ball around. Against Auburn, they didn't have as much success. I kind of see us being able to hold them down like Auburn did.
Right.
And it's at home. It's senior day.
Yeah. So
hopefully Georgia can have a good crowd. 3:30 CBS game. What do you expect out of Georgia coming into this weekend?
Just to be disciplined. I think this week's about discipline. I don't think you want to let. I know we kind of let Bo Nix get out of scramble a little bit and gave up the first rushing touchdown of the season. So I think this week's about making sure that we don't let Kellen Mond kind of do the same. We know he's got some pretty good wheels on him, and also he's got a pretty strong arm. So I think this is about being able to set the edge and contain up front, and it's going to be super important for J.R. Reed and Richard LeCounte to communicate with each other and and protect against the deep threat because he does have pretty good arm talent. He can sling it around.
And they'll slip behind you. That's how they kind of, when Mond gets it running around, the receivers slip behind.
Yeah, they're kind of.
I just don't think, Jimbo, I understand he won the national championship at FSU. I think college is a lot more having a guy. He had Jameis Winston. I don't know how much of a solid coach he was.
Yeah.
But he's a good coach. He's very overpaid, in my opinion, because Texas A&M hasn't done anything different than when Sumlin was there.
Right.
But at the same time, you kind of have that they're going to knock somebody off.
Yeah.
And, they went through Clemson. They went through Alabama, went through Auburn. They're going to beat somebody, and you just have to think you don't want to be that somebody. They get LSU next, so they got to play Georgia and LSU back-to-back. But for Georgia not to be that guy, you have to say, okay, Auburn's over with. The SEC championships in the future, let's focus on now. Be where your feet are is what Kirby always says in the things. Be where your feet are. And right now, you got Texas A&M rolling in, and they want to knock you off. They want to be the team that knocks you out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
As well as it is having, a top 5 team in the playoffs. You're probably going to be in the top 4 again. This week, A&M, it puts a target on you. It puts a giant target on your back. And Georgia's had that target since 2017. Mm-hmm. And a team like A&M is good enough to knock you off.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just about being on your toes and not being complacent and just making sure you do your assignment. On defense, you need to make sure that you're on assignment. You don't have any kind of conflicts going on where you're supposed to be somewhere else and you're over here, and because that's when they can burn you. They can slip somebody behind you, and Kellen Mond will just toss it deep, and that's a quick 7. Yeah. But on offense, I think this is more about doing the things we're doing, but just improving on the little marginal things like I was talking about earlier. Just making sure that when you get an opportunity, a ball thrown towards you, that you catch it. I mean, Matt Landers, Eli Wolf, this is games where, if they're going to be any important parts moving forward, then they have to prove in these next 2 weeks that they can be clutch. Because moving forward, Jake Fromm is going to shorten the rotation. In the ACC championship game, he's going to throw to who he thinks gives him the best opportunity to win. So if you're not one of those guys, you got 2 weeks to kind of try and prove it.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing saying in 2 weeks, Cager. That's his favorite. Yeah. That's his go-to guy. And the kids had a problem staying healthy the last couple of weeks. In my opinion, I'd sit him out for A&M, sit him out for Tech, and whatever he needs to do to get healthy, because we saw against Florida,
right,
and then we saw against South Carolina. When he's in there, like against Florida, we convert them third downs.
Mm-hmm.
We get them long touchdowns.
Yeah.
When he's not in there, like the second half against South Carolina, we don't convert. We punt it a lot. And even in the fourth quarter of this game, things would have been different.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think if we had Cager out there running his routes as crisp as he runs them, sure hands, and we missed him in this whole game pretty much. But I think the Georgia passing game is so much better with Cager in there than without him. We got to get him healthy if we're going to try to win the SEC in 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that needs to be talked about. And I'm sure he will get some rest. I think he was probably just getting some rest last week. That he got his little one pass, and we kind of got up 21-0, and I guess Kirby probably at that point to say, well, why put him out here? We can probably just coast to the finish and let him get that much more time to rest and get right, because he is going to be super important moving forward.
Yeah, but that coasting to the finish is almost what cost us the game.
Yeah.
When it's 21-0.
Well, when you coast to the finish, you still got to convert third down.
Well, but you got to have somebody in there to make it.
Yeah.
The quarterback's confidence, you could tell Fromm's confidence is so much better when he has when 15's on the field.
Yeah.
He's a totally different quarterback. And the play calling is going to be different. Because who's on third and, say, 6, we're going to call a running play and make them burn a time. Who knows if you got Cager out there, you might run him underneath. You might run a shallow cross. You might run something to try to get him open like we did against Florida time and time and time again.
Right.
And kept converting. So it did hurt not having him out there. And if we are going to have, any plans for postseason, we're going to have 15 on the field.
Yeah. Well, either or. I mean, whoever's on the field, they got to figure out a way to convert.
Well, the freshmen ain't freshmen anymore.
Yeah.
It's 10 games in.
Yeah. Don Blaylock's come along. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, he's come a long way. We know what Pickens has, but nobody stepped up to be the guy outside of Cager. But the problem is Cager can't stay healthy.
Right.
So if Georgia does want to do anything, if they want to move on past Atlanta, if they're happy with just making it to the SEC championship, then you'll be fine. You got to have another wide receiver, because you got the talent at quarterback. You know you got the offensive line that can pass pro. You know you got the running back. You have all these things. You need somebody to step up. You need somebody to say, all right, but how long are we going to say this? Because now it's the 10th game, and we've been saying it since South Carolina game, that even Pickens, as good as the flashes he's had, when's he going to step up? When's he going to be that 3rd and 7 guy? When's Georgia going to be able to have that guy that can convert these third downs outside of Cager? And you're not seeing it. Charlie Warner's been there 20 years, it seems like. Eli Wolf's come in there, and he's had the drops, for most of the season.
Yeah.
And Landers has had the drops all season. Simmons, we ain't really thrown to him since he had the drops in the South Carolina game. And it just seems where we have all this going for us. We have all this potential on offense. We're on the cusp of exploding. But our one weakness is nobody wants to step up to be the man at wide receiver. And until that happens, we're going to struggle. We can still win games. Georgia can beat Texas A&M. Georgia demolished Georgia Tech with the talent we have on the field. But if we want to win, and it's going to be LSU, if we want to win the SEC, we're going to have somebody step up. Even with their defense as slack as it is over in Baton Rouge, them are still D1 players that if we're putting a pickle and Cager's not out there, what are we going to do?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If Cager goes down, which he is having a problem staying healthy, we got to find somebody else to make these plays. I mean, you got to convert. There's can't be no excuses at this point. When you have a chance to put a game away like that, you should have put it away. And for Eli Wolf to drop that and for us not to convert on these third and shorts and third and mediums is unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, it puts you in a bad spot, and for the defense, yet again, bails you out. But that's not always going to be the case. I mean, a team like LSU is going to be able to score. Now, they're going to score 50 on us? No. But if they score 27, we have to win that game.
Yeah.
If you hold an offense that potent, Auburn, when they played LSU, they held them to 23 points. That's a game Auburn should have won.
Yeah.
Because you hold that offense that good, you hold them down, you're supposed to take advantage. And if Georgia wants to have any shot at winning the SEC, they're going to have to get a little bit more out of this passing game. you got to squeeze that lemon a little bit more to get some more juice out.
Yeah.
But right now it's enough, and enough ain't going to cut it if you want to. The goals that Georgia has is a little different than they used to be. And right now, we said it all the time. We want that national championship. You ain't going to get it with 110 passing yards against good defense. You're going to have to take another step. Pulled another one out today, and right now that's good enough.
Yeah.
You want to just pull them out, but eventually it's going to cost you, or eventually it's going to bust, and you're going to have that big game. So either or, but right now we're just teetering either way with this passing game. Our rushing attack.
Yeah, it's there. I mean, DeAndre Swift's going to get his regardless.
Yeah, it's on point. It's there, and it could get better. It could get better because the depth could get. But you don't have to run Zamir as much because DeAndre's showing he can take the load.
Yeah, and Brian Herrion's pounding in there. So, but I mean, you could get a little bit more creative, with it. But it's there though. The lanes are there. DeAndre's just making people miss. His top end speed doesn't seem to be as blistering as it was last year. When he does hit one big, it doesn't seem like. But I mean, he's still busting them off 25. However, what was the longest he had the other day? Was it 25 or 30?
20, I think he had like a 26-yarder right before halftime.
26-yarder, yeah. But he's busting them out, man. So it's there, but this passing game's still got to come along just a little bit.
It's every week we talk about we're there. We're right, and we are.
Yeah.
But it ain't from. It's not the offensive coordinator. You've talked about it.
It's just
we've talked
making
about
a play.
It's execution.
It's just making a play.
It's catch it. We hit receivers in the hands. Every week we have people get hit right in the hands.
And drop it.
And they're always clutch. They're touchdowns or third down conversions.
Yep.
And it's just, it's mind-boggling how long this goes on.
Yep.
And early in the year, it's youth.
Yeah.
Early in the year, it's, the quarterback, Eli Wolf, and Fromm ain't worked together long.
Yeah.
But now it's 10 games in.
Yeah.
You've had 2 bye weeks. You've had spring. You've had summer. Okay, now, you're not a freshman no more. You're not a first. You've been here. And Georgia's got to find a way to step it up.
Yeah. They got to do a better job. Period.
Yeah. Now, we'll go over across the river to Alabama. Tua had the injury this weekend. I really don't have a problem with him being in the game. I think people kind of jump on board with that.
Yeah.
He's out there. I think he needs to be out there, especially going forward, because Alabama needs style points. Yeah. They won't admit it. They got to have style points. But the freak injury has a dislocated hip, fractured. The end socket was fractured. Pretty bad deal. They say career-threatening technology nowadays. I don't think anything's really off the table with what you can and can't come back from. But what do you think that does for the legacy over there at Alabama? One of the greatest quarterbacks they've had in Tuscaloosa. Now he ends with this. And what do you think that means for Alabama in the future this season?
First, I'd just like to say it sucks for him to have to go through that and probably be out a good year or more. A hip injury is nothing easy to come back from. But, for the short term, man, it doesn't seem good. I mean, Mac Jones come in, they score 3 points the rest of the game. Jerry Jeudy goes down with some kind of bruised rib action going on. Raekwon Davis went down. There's some bad injuries in this game that could, and they already need some help that I don't think they're going to get anyways, because I don't see Clemson dropping one. If Penn State can knock off Ohio State, I think, that's the only place I see Ohio State losing the game. But I don't think they will, but I'm just saying,
If they do.
Yeah, that's the only place I see them tripping up is at Penn State. So,
but then Penn State would run the thing of jumping Alabama, so they're still in a pickle there.
And then you got the 2 one-loss Pac-12 teams as well. So I think, Bama's just going to be sitting at home for this one, and it sucks because, Tua is a electric player, and, I personally wanted another shot at him in the SEC or anywhere you can meet him, playoff, SEC championship game, So it's just sad, really. It just sucks.
And I don't think Alabama fans have come to the realization they are.
Yeah.
They're not going to make the play. Even without making the SEC title, they know they can still backdoor their way. Because they've done it. They've done it before in the playoffs. They've done it in the BCS. But they're not going this year. Yeah. And I don't know what that's going to do to their mindset. We spoke about it even before the Tua, but especially with the Tua injury. In 2 weeks, they're going to have an issue when they go to that Iron Bowl. Because they're injured here. That crowd's going to be fired up. This defense we just saw this defense.
It's legit.
So now we get to see Mac Jones go over here and play Auburn on the road. Yeah. And
with a not as quality offensive line either. There's I think Alex Leatherwood is the best player on that offensive line by far, yeah.
And, a lot of that is the recruiting when we started recruiting better offensive linemen, so that just thins out what everybody else would get. But you're looking at a team now, they come in here to the Iron Bowl, Auburn could beat them in 2 weeks. And
Absolutely.
then, they're going to have players sit out in the bowl game.
Yeah.
I saw where they said the other day, Nick Saban mentioned they've had 1 year in 12 seasons. They've lost more than one regular season game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just an amazing feat to go that long. But, say they lose the Iron Bowl and they lose the bowl game.
Yeah.
And, everybody else having a 3-loss season. That could be bad for an Alabama who's losing a lot going into next. We're now way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But you look at 2020, and you're losing all these wide receivers that are elite talent. You're going to bring in some good players, but they're losing a lot this offseason. Yeah. And having this Tua injury runs, speeds up Mac, getting him a little bit better. But he won't have the weapons next year he's going to have in that Iron Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, the Iron Bowl is going to be real tough for them. This defense is legit. And they're not going to be able to stop Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson from getting in there and kind of giving Mac Jones fits, to be honest. And and as far as the wide receivers, if Jerry Judy's not 100%, then that really that takes a lot of the pressure off of Auburn's back end,
right?
Because they don't have to really put as much attention towards Judy, and they can kind of spread that out amongst Waddle and Smith and Ruggs, and they'll be able to kind of combo guys up and I don't know. It's going to be tough.
And you talked about that offensive line. This defensive line at Auburn.
It's nasty.
They'll be able to get some pressure. And we'll talk more next week going into it. But you're looking at Mac Jones seeing something. He played Tennessee, then he played a little bit in Mississippi State, and never stood out as being a elite player or looking like an elite player. He looked like a backup quarterback. Yeah. And, I hate the injury happened with Tua. We all hate how it happened. Freak injury. But, this is going to hurt his draft stock, not just being hurt. Yeah. But every year when the kid gets hit, he gets hurt. He showed that he's fragile.
Not durable.
He's not going to be durable for an NFL. An NFL team, now red flags going everywhere.
Any NFL person, any NFL owner, agent, whatever, they're going to tell you availability is the best quality you can have as an NFL player. Being not hurt and being ready to go every week, that's what NFL teams want. We don't have time to spend millions of dollars on people who you got to send them to rehab for 3 weeks at a time and this, that, and the other.
Every time they get hit, they get hurt. It's not Tua's fault. That's nothing that he can help. But, just not – Alabama's had injuries all year. Here's something else. What about these injuries since the spring? And Alabama, these injuries are happening. Every week somebody else seems to be going down. And that's key players. Yeah.
Well, the Tua thing, I'm not going to put it all on Nick Saban because I guess, Tua wanted to be in the game. He's a competitor. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you do got to look out for your guys. And, if you're up by 28 or whatever it was at the time, you could have pulled them. But I think it's more of the Nick puts Tua in risky situations with the plays that they call. He rolls them out a lot. He moves them around a lot. I've never seen Nick try to protect Tua in any way and kind of get it out quick and, protect this quarterback. He just puts him out there and says, go make a play by any means necessary, and you don't ever see Jake Fromm have to go through anything like that. We protect them. You don't put them out on a limb and give them that chance for something like that to happen.
I just feel Alabama knows they need points. They need style points. They need like Ohio State. All these people that say that he should have been out of the game. Watch all these other. You don't see Trevor Lawrence coming out.
No, people. I mean, look, Tua's going to want to play. I mean, look, I've seen videos of dudes on the sideline. I've seen people when I play football. Somebody take their helmet. You snatch your helmet back and you try and you fight to get back on the field because that's just, you don't care about the injury. You just want to play. And that's how most kids are. And you're a competitor. That's just how it is.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it was a 40, 50-point lead.
Right.
I mean, it was still.
Yeah.
I mean,
they were still trying to work.
70-something the other week. You don't get that by putting Justin Fields on the bench in the second quarter.
From what I heard, Tua was trying to work a 2-minute drill going into the half. And Mac Jones was ready to come out, but Tua just wanted to work on 2 minutes moving forward. And, it happens. It happens.
Now,
but it sucks.
We talked about the playoff rankings. Big game this weekend. We hinted on it earlier. Ohio State, Penn State.
Yeah, huge game.
In Columbus. What do you think the chances are? What can Penn State do to kind of put some havoc into the playoff rankings with the upset this weekend?
Well, that's going to be the best team Ohio State's played by far. And I think they're pretty explosive on offense. If you've had a chance watching Penn State, they're pretty good deep threat. They got a guy, KJ Hamler, who's pretty explosive, pretty shifty, can return punts and do a lot of special things like that. So I think James Franklin's going to have these guys ready to go. They got to be a little bit angry after taking the L to Minnesota last week and kind of sputtering after they were up in the top 4 like they were, But can they beat Ohio State? I think they can, but we know Chase Young will be coming back in this game as well, conveniently.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a battle, man. I think, we're talking like 28-27. I mean, it's going to be a back and forth thing, and I think Justin Fields is really going to have to finally face some adversity. So
we've never seen that.
Seen how he responds to that.
2 possessions. He's never had a game within 2 possessions in the second half.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to play some good defense. If you could, Phil showed in the first half against Wisconsin, watching that game, if they could put some pressure on him, he's not as good as he is when he's sitting.
Right.
And that's every quarterback. You put him in a pocket.
Well, and it's also the coverage, too. He's been throwing in wide open windows all week, and all year. And Penn State can definitely drape all over these guys and make it a little bit harder, make it a tighter window for Justin to have to squeeze it in.
And I think that's going to have to be their staple.
Yeah.
They got to play.
They got to put hands on man.
And if they can do that, we don't know how Fields is going to react. And if they get an Ohio State upset right here, and I think that'd put them go into they have somebody, Rutgers or somebody left to beat out, and they'd win, go to the Big Ten championship. Now Ohio State would be out of the playoffs because they're not going to get the benefit of the doubt Alabama gets not making the conference championship game, but it'd throw a wrench into the whole thing.
Absolutely.
And really and truly, everybody likes chaos. Yeah. But you look at it for me, Georgia's sitting at 4. The reason I think being 4 and being 6 is a big difference. Now you put a little chaos in the top 5. Georgia's looking for that number 1 because we won't play the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. A 1 seed gives us the Peach Bowl. So being 4 now is such a big deal because if Ohio State does slip up and we get up to 3, then we beat number 1 in the SEC championship. We could be number 1 in the playoffs. And that is a huge deal playing right in our own backyard in the semifinals. And that put us in Atlanta for 3 in a row. The next year we open in Atlanta. So, Atlanta's becoming like the second home to us.
Right.
And I think it's such a big deal being in that top 5. But that's all we got this week. I just wanted to say right now, both of us, we appreciate everybody that came out to Zoners.
Yeah, it's
had a lot of fun. We still got some 7-6 koozies.
Yeah.
So if you subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment. It could say Go Dogs. It could just say anything. Just leave us a comment. Subscribe. We'll send you out some free stuff. We got decals and anything else. We'll throw a Nothing Finer package together. So be sure to do that. So subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you're watching on WYBU, go ahead and get on YouTube. Search Nothing Finer Pod. Twitter, @Nothing Finer Pod. Facebook, where the Zoners thing is on there, you can go to Nothing Finer Pod. The page has the video from the other day on there. Still go ahead and watch it. We got the Herschel Walker interview on YouTube. So after you watch this episode, go back and watch that one. Like I said, leave us a comment. Also, going into this game, what's your score prediction for Texas A&M?
I'll take 28-13 Dogs. I feel like we won't score 30, but I feel like we'll feel a little bit more productive.
And I'll say 27-21. It'll be close. Defense will stand at the end because that's just what Dogs do.
Uh-huh.
God bless. Go Dogs.